Welcome to Gail's Kitchen. Today we're making upside down apple pie. We begin by lining our pie pan with a mixture of brown sugar, butter, and pecans. Then we lay on our bottom crust, layer in our pie filling, put our top crust on, crimp it and bake it, let it cool, and then we invert it and cover it in a confectioner's sugar glaze. And what we have is an award-winning pie. And this pie recipe has won over 8 ribbons at local fairs. This recipe comes from Susan Frisch of Germansville, Pennsylvania. And I've actually gone to the orchards in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to show you today how to make this award-winning pie from Miss Frisch of Germansville, PA. So you're going to start out with a 10-inch pie dish, and I've lined my pie dish with 2 sheets of aluminum foil, mashed them in to the bottom, and I'm leaving an overhang on each side. So I place a sheet this way and a sheet that way. And then we spray it very generously with some baker's spray. Set that aside, and now in a small bowl, we're going to combine 1/2 cup of firmly packed brown sugar and 1/2 cup of chopped pecans or pecans and 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Toss this with a fork until everything's well combined. You want to get all that sugar dissolved with that butter, and you see this is going to be such a nice topping to our upside down apple pie. Lay this into your pie dish. It's going to be like a great big apple cinnamon bun, unlike any apple pie you've ever had. And the actual ingredients for the pie filling itself are perfect. I'm going to go around and level this. Now we're going to put our bottom crust on top of our pecan filling. There. Shimmy it down into our pie pan. I don't like to touch the crust too much because that's what can cause a tough crust. So I'm very gentle with this. Now let's set this aside and make our apple pie filling. So you want 8 cups of thinly sliced apples, and I'm using Jonagold. You can use any baking apple that you like. You could also use 2 different kinds of apples. And you want them sliced thinly, about 1/8 of an inch. Let's put our 8 cups. And I'm going to toss about 1 tablespoon of orange juice on my apples. You could use lemon juice rather than orange juice. Let's toss these so they don't brown up on us. 1 cup of sugar. 1/3 cup of flour. And of course, an apple pie wouldn't be an apple pie without cinnamon. I'm using 1½ teaspoons of cinnamon, or 1 heaping teaspoon, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. I am a true pie person. I love pies because I love crust and I love fruit. So any fruit-filled pie is just my favorite thing. This pie is just loaded with apples, loaded with apples. And now we need 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And give this another good toss. I like to make sure all the apples get separated and coated with some of that sugar and cinnamon. Okay, we've got our pie crust. We're going to go around on the bottom and just gently press it in. I'm going to cut the crust so that there's 1 inch overhang. So go ahead and do this step before you put the filling in. Okay, so firmly press the crust into the bottom of the pie pan and push it against the sides just a little. So you see that we're going to have a lot of filling for this pie, and I love a mile-high apple pie. Let's put our filling into our crust. And you see this is going to be so good. Now tell me that's not going to be a good apple pie. Kind of push this in a bit I have lots and lots of apples. So I just take my hands and seep the apples just a little bit in there. Obviously they will cook down a bit. And now let's put our top crust on. I rolled mine on wax paper. So the wax paper is very handy for transferring the crust. Now I'm going to cut the top crust to a 1/4 inch overhang so that the bottom crust we cut at 1 inch we can fold over on top. So I'm just going to go around this with a paring knife. Now fold the bottom over the top crust. Take that bottom, fold it over the top. I'm going to pinch this and make a ridge. So that looks pretty good. So we want 4 slits in the top of our crust. This delicious pie is going in a 375-degree oven for 50 to 55 minutes. After about 30 minutes, I will check. The edges may need to be covered with foil to prevent overbrowning. And when this comes out of the oven, stay tuned because we are going to do a couple more things to this pie. I can't wait for you to see how this ends up. Our beautiful apple pie came out of the oven about 15 minutes ago, and I've placed it on a cooling rack. Now that it's cooled for 15 minutes, we're going to invert this pie onto a serving platter. So watch what we do next. I have my favorite serving platter. It was my mother's wedding gift in the 50s, and she gifted this to me, and I just love it. So take your favorite serving platter and lay it onto your apple pie, like so. And now we invert our apple pie to make it our upside down apple pie. Peel away the aluminum foil. And now we very gently lift off the aluminum foil. To reveal our upside down apple pie. This pie tastes like an upside down apple cinnamon bun. It is just gorgeous. Some of that buttery goodness drips down over the edge of the pie crust. Oh, it's going to be so good. One last step, and this ultimate upside down apple pie will be complete. We're going to make an orange juice glaze. You need 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and 2 to 3 teaspoons of orange juice. And there's our upside down apple pie. I think you're gonna fall in love with this upside down apple pie. I hope you get a chance to make this during the fall baking season and enjoy with friends and family.